Good morning from day 43. Today should be a pretty straightforward day hiking wise. 21 something miles, but the first 10 miles are basically flat. It's only a total of like 21 or 2200 feet gain. So should be pretty simple. It is 6 o'clock. I'm getting started early because there is a wilderness center in 6 miles, which is where people go to get permits for Yosemite. But more importantly, there is service there. I have new shoes that are supposed to be delivered to Kenny Meadows North. They were supposed to be delivered 3 or 4 days ago and keep getting delayed or misdelivered. I'm not sure. Haven't had enough service to figure that out. And so I need to be able to handle that. So I'm rushing to get there, get service, so I can call an agent, figure out, because if they can't promise me that the shoes will be delivered today, I will need Chad to eat the charge of shipping fast and ship a different pair of shoes that I have at home so I can have some pair of shoes to walk out of Kenny Meadows North with. I showed you all the holes in my shoes last night. I desperately need new shoes. It's not something that can wait till the town after. So need to figure that out. So I'm feeling pretty antsy. So as soon as I woke up this morning, instead of letting myself fall back asleep, I got up and got moving. And again, thank goodness the day is going to be an easy day and starts flat.
Wolf or pack of wild dogs, definitely not coyote.
So hopefully you were able to hear on those clips if I turn up the volume. And thankfully I was around 2 other random hikers, but there was this noise that we kept hearing off in the distance. Couldn't really make sense of it, if it was an animal noise, something human noise, given that we're getting closer to civilization at Yosemite. The noise just kept happening and got closer, and then we could hear it sounding like a group of canines. Me being me, I was worried at first. I was like, what if someone's dog got loose? But did not sound like any dog I've ever heard. Still don't believe it was a dog. And so we do think it was a wolf. Wolves maybe? Didn't sound like coyotes. So either a wolf or a pack of wild dogs or something like that, that we heard, that did sound like it was pretty dang close to us. But like I said, thankfully I was around 2 other hikers, so wasn't really worried for myself at all. And just kind of wish we got to see the wolves or wild dogs. But interesting noise to hear early in the morning. Hi, dear. So I figured out my shoes, hopefully. I have no idea what part of Yosemite I am in, like if I'm presuming I'm in the east side, but honestly, no idea. I sat at the Wilderness Center for about an hour and a half, figuring out the shoe situation. I don't know exactly what Half Dome looks like, but I'm wondering if that's it right there. It's very far away, but I don't see any people on top. But it vaguely, from what I'm remembering, vaguely looks familiar, but who knows? I'm sitting here 10.9 miles into the day at 11 o'clock. A little bit later than I usually stop for first lunch, given that I had to stop for an hour and a half at the ranger station this morning. But it has been a very, very easy 10.9 miles, very flat, very good trail. So I've been moving quickly. Tuolumne Falls. It's 3 o'clock and I'm stopping for my second break of the day. I have done 18.3 miles, which means I only have 2.9 miles left for the day to get to 21.2 miles, which was the plan. Feeling pretty good. My top of my right foot has started hurting a little bit, so I've just got to make sure I'm better about using my massage ball. But yeah, otherwise it's been a pretty easy, chill day, which was good for me to figure out my shoes this morning with the service at the ranger station. And then Emily's knee has been hurting her a little bit, so it's been good for her too that it hasn't been any crazy up or downhill. Something we'll be keeping an eye on the horizon is that checking weather. It sounds like there's a 40% chance of storms tomorrow and 80% the next day, so that'll just be something we keep an eye on and adjust plans over the next couple days. But I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy a break. Now that I'm calmer and the issue has been resolved, let me explain what was going on with my shoes. So before July 4th, I asked Chad to order me a new pair of shoes to Kenny Meadows North, which he did. The shoes I had were starting to look a little worn. At that time, I think I was only like 400 miles into them, and shoes are supposed to look like trail running shoes, kind of standard duration is 400 to 500 miles. And they were looking good, just starting to be a little worn, and tread and cushion starting to wear down. So Chad placed the order, and they were supposed to be delivered July 7th. Now, in that time frame, obviously I showed you the holes in my shoes earlier. The shoes rapidly degraded and have gotten holes in the last 2 to 3 days, which, you know, I end up having to wear Crocs. Hopefully not, but may end up having to wear Crocs the last 1 or 2 days into Kenny Meadows, which if I do, that is entirely my fault. The shoes, when they got bad, rapidly went bad, and now I know kind of what the time frame is on these Hokas. But the thing that's been going on is the shoes that Chad ordered were supposed to be delivered July 7th, and they were every day delayed. So when I was in Mammoth, I saw that they got delayed a day, and I was like, you know, okay, it's not bad, just one day. But then when I had service yesterday, I checked again, and each day after that, they had also been delayed. And so I had service this morning and spent an hour and a half trying to talk with an agent. So REI typically ships through UPS, but this time they shipped through a shipping service I've never heard of called On Track. And On Track, you are apparently never allowed to talk to a person over the phone. It is only via chat. And the person I talked with today was entirely unhelpful. All she could say, she couldn't tell me why they were being delayed and why they weren't being delivered or what the reason was. She had absolutely no information to provide, and her only answer was that she opened a ticket, and if they weren't delivered within 2 days, to contact the seller. Now the problem is today is Thursday. I will be to Kenny Meadows on Sunday, and I desperately need new shoes because of my holes in the shoes. And I can't wait 2 days to then reach out again, because if those weren't going to be delivered, I needed some shoes sent today via priority overnight so they would get there before Sunday. So I called REI. They, fortunately, in contrast to On Track, they were able to help me out, and they, the lady I talked with, placed an order for a second pair of shoes to be overnighted via UPS. So one of the 2 pairs of shoes were going to get there. Now, fortunately and surprisingly, given the lack of information provided by the On Track agent, my first pair of shoes was delivered today. So I was able to go ahead, well, Chad was able to go ahead and cancel the order for the second pair from REI. And now all is since resolved, but it was obviously very stressful, not knowing if I was going to get a pair of shoes by Sunday, given the quality of my shoes now aren't just worn down, it's a matter of will they even make it till Sunday. But everything is resolved, thank goodness. I'm sitting down by the river at camp. Let me just show you really quickly. And camp is right up there, but I'm sitting here soaking my feet. Gave them a quick wash and also just icing them because, like I said earlier, my right foot has been hurting a little bit today. Obviously by nature of bug net, it's a little bit mosquito-y down by the water, but still worth it to soak my feet. It was 21.2 miles today. I don't know if I said earlier, but today is day 43. 21.2 miles. I believe that's our longest day in the Sierra so far. Definitely not our hardest. It was only about 2,200 feet of climbing today. So definitely not difficult at all. The first 10 miles were basically flat and then very, very gradual gain over the last 11 miles. I got to camp by 5:20. That was with an hour and a half of dealing with my shoes this morning, and then 3 hours of total breaks throughout the day today. So obviously a very easy day. I would have asked Emily if we could push further today just because of how nice it's been, except that she's trying to have a nice chill day because of her knee, and hopefully by taking it easy today with not necessarily low mileage, but an easy day and low climbing, that means that the rest of the week she'll be feeling better and able to do that more easily. So I'm just going to sit here and ice my feet for about 10 to 20 minutes, as long as I can stand it, and then just read and hang out till Emily gets to camp. Good morning from day 44. It is 6 o'clock. I did set my alarm this morning. Not that I typically need it, but just to make sure I got up and moving by 6 so I could get the miles done ASAP today. Like I believe I mentioned last night, there's a chance of storming. It is still present when I checked the weather this morning. And if I haven't mentioned already, I checked the weather using my Garmin. my satellite phone, it also has a weather function. There's a 50% chance of raining and storms from about 4 to 6. Now the Garmin doesn't show every single hour, it goes by 2 hours. So I guess it could be anywhere from like 3 to 7-ish. So just trying to get as many miles as possible done before that happens. Minimum of 18.6 miles. But if me and Emily are getting the miles done faster and able to go further, that would be for the best. So basically 18.6 plus miles is our goal for the day. Feeling good. My socks that I was wearing last night got wet at the last river crossing before camp and never dried, so I'm wearing my other pair. And then I made the mistake of washing my sports bra in the river at camp at about 5:30 last night, thinking that'd give it enough time to dry, but it is still wet, so that was something fun I got to experience this morning, put on a wet sports bra. But all is good, and hopefully the storms will hold off as long as possible today. Almost to the top of Benson Pass. I'm coming down from Donahue Pass, or not Donahue, Benson Pass, which, like Donahue Pass, was nothing to write home about. Better, not too hard going and climbing up the pass, but not really any significant views. A little bit better than Donahue in terms of views, but a little bit harder. But again, nothing like the passes early on in the Sierra. But anyways, I'm feeling competitive with myself today, and I'm trying to hit my first 10 by 10 of the Sierras. Just a reminder, that's 10 miles by 10 a.m. At the top of Donahue Pass, I was at 9.1 miles, and I have about 20 minutes to snag the other 0.9, which I'm going downhill, so should be able to achieve that. This purple is so very vibrant. It is 10 o'clock and I have hit my first 10 by 10 of the Sierras. Technically I have done, I don't know if you can see this, 10.1 miles. I don't think it's showing up. Anyway, I've done 10.1 miles by 10 o'clock. Again, doesn't really mean anything, just a little self-competitiveness to get me moving a little bit faster because of the potential storms today. There is not a single cloud in the sky, so I have my fingers crossed that we're on the the positive end of that 50%, that we're not going to get any rain storms this afternoon. But things change, and so that's why I'm trying to get my miles done fast today, but feeling pretty proud of myself. This is Smedberg Lake. I don't know if you can see it, but that big lake right there is Benson Lake. It is about a half-mile off trail, so I would definitely not be going to see it, but maybe the biggest lake so far. So I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. I made it 15 miles by noon, and that was with only about 10 minutes total of break, so I am sitting down for a nice long break. Clouds are starting to gather overhead, so I looked at the weather and it had updated to us from 50% down to 30%, but it is looking more and more likely unless these clouds just pass over. But 15 miles and 3,300 feet of climbing so far today, which means for the rest of the day, either 3.4 or 4.3 miles and about 1,700 feet of climbing. I think I'm going to go for the 4.3 miles, just get a little bit further so that in 2 days when I go into Kenny Meadows, we have a little bit less. I just have to check in with Emily and see if she's on board with that. And then now I'm just going to enjoy my break and eat some food. My stomach's been growling the last half hour, so definitely ready to eat a lot of food. The clouds are starting to get a little dark, but hopefully they hold off for a little bit longer. I ended up breaking for about an hour, which I could have and probably should have done half that time so I get moving faster. But I was really comfortable and my book was good, so I stayed there for the full hour. I don't know if it's because of the clouds or what, but it is so humid today. I normally sweat a lot, but not quite this much. It's just so humid in the air today. All these ferns remind me of the AT. It's so beautiful and lush. Another beautiful pond that if I had the time and guarantee that the weather would hold out, I'd go swimming in because I'm so sweaty and so hot and so smelly. But I want to get a camp and get my tent set up before even the possibility of rain. It's one of my least favorite things while camping or hiking is getting rained on. So I don't want to chance it whatsoever. Over there it looks like the sky is clearing up, but over there looks like it's raining. And unfortunately I can't tell which way the clouds are going, so 1.8 miles left to camp. It is starting to thunder a little bit, but thank goodness I only have 1 mile left to camp, almost at the top of CV Pass, which hasn't really been a pass. Just gotta stop. I think I'm just gonna fill up both my bladders of water and keep moving and not stop the filter, and then get to camp to set up my tent. Other hikers don't seem to mind the chance of storms and rain as much, but it is, like I said, one of my least favorite things while hiking. I apparently passed the top of CV Pass without even paying attention to it. So definitely not one of your typical passes. Now I just have to find where the water is and get to camp, which is 0.9 ahead. The clouds really don't look too dark, but it is still thundering. I'm doing something I haven't done since starting the Sierras and carrying about 5 liters of water. It is way more water than I should need, especially because there will be water about a mile after camp. Just for once, there won't be water at camp. And since I'll be getting there before 3, I'll need water for 2 meals, both my ramen as my second lunch, and then my mashed potato dinner. And since there's only 1 mile downhill from the water source, I figured I was strong enough to carry it. But man, does it bring back bad memories. I am at camp and my tent is set up. It is 3 o'clock. So I'm pretty proud of myself. Made it 19.4 miles and 4,961 feet of climbing to get here before 3. So obviously could go much further, and I'm not fully setting up camp in case the weather does pass and me and Emily talk and decide to go further. I'd be totally okay with packing my tent up. That's all I'm really unpacking at this point, because the thunder's kind of eased off. The skies never really looked bad, like they never looked like they were storming. I say the thunder eased off and there's a little gentle rumble in the distance, but here, see, the skies don't look too bad at all. So I'm wondering if we're even gonna get any weather at all. But at this point, I'm deserving of a break regardless. And I need to wait for Emily to tell me how she feels and see how the weather's going. So I'm just gonna go in my tent, lay down. We only have 2 more days till we get to Kenny Meadows. So today's Friday, we'll get to Kenny Meadows North on Sunday. And I haven't used any of my battery banks yet, so I might take advantage of that and edit a video. I only have really 1.5 that I could edit, but I could do that, read a book, or just relax for a little while until we figure out what the game plan is for the rest of the day. It's a light rain, but you can hear it going.